Nothing. There you go. Cooking. Welcome back, you guys. I'm Billy D. This is Drink Smoke Build, and today I am going to be using my kids' swing set as a makeshift gantry crane to be able to lift my bed off of the S10, pull the S10 out, replace the fuel pump, which I found out was bad, and then back it back under, place it back down. So if you guys watched the last episode that I made on my gambler car on the 2000 Monte Carlo SS, I ended up shelling the differential, spider gears went everywhere, the entire housing blew apart. Picture of that here. That was a major pain in the butt and a big bummer. But the S10, which I thought that the cats were clogged, I thought was a fairly easy fix. Well, I crawled under it this morning, I cranked off the O2 sensor, and I went to jump the S10, cranked it over, nothing, realized I wasn't hearing the fuel pump. So I got under there and checked to see if all of the connections were tight and not loose and not disconnected and no wires cut or anything like that. And everything seems to be in order, but to get to the fuel pump and check on the fuel pump itself, I've got to take the bed off. Well, I didn't have anyone around to help me. It's not super heavy, but I can't lift this giant 8 by 6 foot bed off by myself. So that's why I have borrowed my kid's swing set, and hopefully it's not too much weight for it to handle. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this jacked up and then pull it out with the truck. There we go. So I need to get the front up about 6 inches because there's a crossbar at the front up here that will run into the tire as I pull out if I don't get it up high enough. So we're going to lift this a little bit more. All right, now we're going to go to the other side so that we're lifting it as equal as possible. And obviously I went through and unbolted and disconnected the lights and all of that beforehand. Did not videotape it this time, but I did a video last year where I've done this before, except I used help to get the bed off. You can go find that in the S10 playlist in the description below. I'm hoping that the fuel pump not running is the only thing that's wrong with it, but we will find out once I get it swapped out, or at the very least inspect it. Still not feeling comfortable about that. We're gonna get a little higher. Looks like our swing set isn't going anywhere. That should be plenty of clearance. So the back here is just resting. Uh-oh. I have more wires I need to clip. Thought I got all the wires, but guess not. And there we go. All right, now that it's all cranked up, let's go ahead and yank this thing out of here. And just so you guys know, everything but the tag is floating. Would you look at that? Easy peasy, swing set easy. So now that we have the bed off, you guys can see there is the new fuel pump and fuel sending unit that I put in last spring, which you guys again can see in the video in the description below in the playlist S10. This is the one that I replaced. If you guys remember from that video, I had a vacuum leak. The pump was actually working, but I had a vacuum leak. So I just went ahead and replaced everything. Well, instead of spending money on a whole new fuel pump, I'm gonna go ahead and just take this one off, swap it out with the one that's in there, test it to make sure that it works, and then hopefully not have to spend any money on this fix. Okay, so I have gotten everything disconnected. As you can see, it is dirty. So I am going to spray it with the air compressor, blow all that crap off so I'm not having stuff fall down into the tank whenever I pull the pump out of there. Well, we know we're not out of gas. Look at that. Look at that. She still looks brand new. No holes in the rubber. Oop, gas everywhere. Sending units plugged in. Doesn't seem like there's any loose wires. All right, let's go ahead and swap off the pump. Ooh, look at that. All right, she's removed. Let's go ahead and swap it out. That's all gummed up, so I'm gonna clean this off so that we're not sucking any of that in. Something loose in there. I tell you what, I'm gonna plug this in and real quick key on the ignition and see if we can hear this thing spinning, and then real quick turn it off. All right, so it's in place. Go ahead and hook up the fuel lines. All right, all the hoses are hooked up. Let's plug the power in. Put the ground down. I have not tightened everything yet. I'm not that worried about it. Again, I just want to cycle it on to make sure it works in case I have to pull it again. Nothing. I wonder if I blew a fuse. All right, so I've checked all fuses and there are no fuses blown. I have gone through and checked as much of the wiring as I could get to, and I'm not seeing any sort of problems from the power source. So I'm pretty sure that both of the fuel pumps I have are bad, so I went ahead and bought another one at O'Reilly's, and I've got about 10 minutes or less of light left, so I'm going to try to get this one switched out and see if this works. And you guys have seen me do this enough, so once I get this in and everything hooked back up, I will turn the camera back on for hopefully a startup. Okay, for the moment of truth, got the new one in. Let's go ahead and turn the ignition on, see if we can hear the pump. I hear nothing. So it's now been several days since I've last worked on the truck because I ran out of ideas. I didn't want to take the time to try to chase down every wire. So what I have done is I made a post in a S10 group about my problems, and after, of course, swapping the fuel pump out, swapping the relays out, swapping the coil pack out, and a couple of other parts, I pretty much decided that it is probably the distributor or the coil pickup that's on the distributor. So I went ahead and bought an entire distributor, and I'm going to be swapping it out. And if that doesn't fix it, then we're going to push this thing back in the backyard, and I'll figure out a different vehicle to take for the Gambler.